Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be the consequences of not vetting women properly. Well, this particular email is from a viewer. I've answered some previous newsletters about this situation. And so he's been following my work for about 2 years. He's listened to 3% Man 16 times. And so he just shares a lesson because he finally had enough with this particular woman who, quite frankly, looks like she was just a nut. Things could be going good for a while. She'd get in a bad mood, and then she would torpedo the relationship, break up with him. And the last time he told her if she ever dumped him again, that he wouldn't take her back the next time she decided she regretted her decision. So it's a good email that just shows the downside of not vetting the women and focusing on how much you like them and ignoring the fact that they got issues. And the more the home the girl comes from is broken and the worse the father does raising her, the more squirrely her behavior is going to be. So it's just a good email to learn from on what to avoid if you spot this kind of behavior and somebody you just started seeing. He was already down the road and already dating her, and so and he kept projecting his fantasy of what he wanted onto her. And part of the issue was he met her 6 months after his wife passed away of cancer. And so I'm sure just the ordeal of going through that, he wanted some company. He's a single dad now, 2 young boys. And so you can just understand how he kind of got into a situation like this. But he writes in because he wants to share this with you guys in hopes that everybody can learn from it and avoid his mistakes because he spent 2 years with her basically. So he says, Dear Coach Corey Wayne, hope you're doing well. I've been following your work for 2 years now. I've read and listened to your first book, How to Be a 3% Man, about 16 times, and I'm not looking for any advice in this email, but rather a lesson to your viewers for not vetting potential girlfriends properly during the dating process. You've helped me on a number of occasions with this woman I had been in an on and off relationship with, and I appreciate that. Just to recap, my name is Bob, and I'm a 42-year-old widower from the UK with 2 young boys, one of which is a teenager now. 6 months after I was widowed from a happy 13-year marriage, I started dating this particular woman and we rushed into a relationship. After about a month and a half, she started displaying a lot of passive-aggressive and narcissistic behaviors, like ignoring me for days on end for something really small, which made me start to question myself. Yeah, this is where the danger is when you date somebody that is a narcissist or they're passive-aggressive or they stonewall you. If you're used and you know what it's like to date somebody that's easy and effortless, where you just talk and work things out when an issue comes up, versus a woman like this who just gets pissed and gives you the silent treatment for several days, and then when she feels like you suffered enough, then she reaches out and oftentimes wants to act like just nothing ever happened. And it's emotionally abusive, verbally abusive, and it's mentally abusive. And because the more you stay with somebody like this, you just start to question yourself, especially if they're narcissistic, because they're going to gaslight you and always play like they're the victim, and it's always somehow ends up being your fault. And so this guy had a good marriage, and despite that, he started dating this woman, and he ignored that behavior. Because most guys, when they come across somebody like this, if there's a lot of other good things about them, they think, oh, well, it's just we had a little bump in the road, no big deal. It was just a one-time thing. And then the 5th or the 6th or the 10th time it happens, then you realize that's just kind of the way they are. So he says, this is when I came across your work. While I was reading your material, learning, and being roasted by you in newsletters, you're welcome, she broke up with me about 7 times only to come running back after I stopped contacting her. So he would follow what's in 7 Principles, get an X back, go no contact, and at some point she'd come back. For the last year, although I was applying what your book teaches, we would be okay for a while, and then she would get annoyed for the littlest thing and give me the silent treatment. You're not able to, you can't solve problems unless you can talk openly and honestly about them. And when somebody just ghosts you and leaves you hanging for several days and won't return your call and just ignores you and then comes back like nothing ever happened. You think, okay, well, that's a one-off. And then it happens again. Oh, well, maybe she's having a bad day or a bad week, or she's going through a rough time. Okay. And then you make excuses for the behavior. I don't mind telling you that this behavior is mentally draining and exhausting. Well, it's also abusive. She told me when she was a child, she did not have a good relationship with her parents. Her father was an alcoholic, and her mother had no time for her. So you can imagine she grows up feeling like nobody gives a shit about her. And you're just going to get hot and cold behavior because she never got loved properly and she didn't have a stable environment, and dad's drunk and checked out. In a nutshell, she came from a broken home. Recognizing the way she was behaving is not normal, she started seeing a therapist for a while. She also recently got officially diagnosed with ADHD, which one of her sons also got diagnosed with as well. I thought I could work with this because I love her, but I was wrong. Yeah, it's not your job to fix or to save somebody or to undo the bad job their father did. You got to see reality as it is and not better than it is, which is what he did, basically. The last time she broke up with me, which was just over a year ago, when she came back, I looked her in the eyes and told her, the next time you break up with me, you will never get me back if you later realize you made a mistake. Now, keep in mind, she did it 7 times. After I told her that, she said she felt a shiver down her spine, probably because she knew you meant it. Fast forward to now, and for the straw that broke the camel's back. For the last month or so, I noticed she started becoming more withdrawn, although she was still doing 95% of the pursuing. For example, not wanting to stay at my house anymore, apparently because of my cats. This was never a problem before. Also, she had not been wanting to have sex and also started to reject my affections. Well, that tells me you're trying to seduce her when she's not really open to it. So I would say with that particular item, you're not really following the book. If the leg's closed, typically it's because she doesn't feel heard and understood. But then again, this woman is a Fruit Loop and she's not normal. And the book is designed for normal women and to weed out the Fruit Loops, but he didn't weed her out. He kept dating her thinking, I can fix her. I can save her. Captain Ho to the rescue. She told me that just because she does not want to have sex does not mean she does not love me. He says, yeah, right. Last Thursday, she invited me and one of my kids over to her place. When we arrived in the evening, I could see straight away she was off. And I said, you seem kind of distant, babe. What's up? She replied, I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine. No one says I'm fine. He's like, they're not fine. I pushed a little more, and then she said she's in a bad mood. When I asked her, what is she in a bad mood over, she said, it's because I am there, and said she is overwhelmed with everything going on in her life. I mean, I would have been like, well, if I'm here and that puts you in a bad mood, well, I'd rather go do something with my son. And because, as a dad, you don't want your kid being around a woman who just, you show up and she's just an ass. It's like, I don't think so. She was ignoring me while I was there, rolling her eyes and being rude to me. And again, if your son watches this, eventually when he's old enough to date, he's going to date women like that and think it's okay because dad did it. So you got to remember the example that you're setting. Whatever you bring into your life, whatever you tolerate, you're going to invite more of. And in this case, you're going to invite it for your children. So that's why it's best to dip from women when they show how nutty they really are. After a little while, I said, okay, I'm going home if you don't want me here, and left with my son without saying another word. I called my older sister that evening and spoke to her about what had happened. She told me to just get rid of her, as she told me many times before. I knew this is what I'm going to do, but I needed to hear it from someone else as well. The next day I called her, as I did not really care anymore about waiting for her to call me, and she straight away diverted my call and texted me saying, I don't want to talk. This morning I called her again to end the relationship, as I've had enough. When I rang her, she ignored my call. About 5 minutes later, she texted saying, don't call me. I don't want to speak with you. Yeah, again, it's like women like this are not, they're just a little cuckoo. They just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and you could have had a great day the day before. And now they wake up today, they're in a shitty mood, and they're going to let you and everybody else know how unhappy or pissed off they are. Right, Ocean? I replied saying, okay, she has done this on numerous occasions before when I first found your work, and after a few days she would apologize to me, but would then say it was my fault for whatever reason she pulls out of the cloud. Yeah, that's what the narcissist does. Always the victim. It's always your fault. No accountability. They're just not able to take any accountability at all. I have no intention of ever calling or texting her, and when she decides to reach out to me, which she probably will once she's feeling remorseful and happy again, I'm going to tell her I'm done. I have officially had enough of her overstepping my boundaries. Well, quite frankly, it's like, why even bother calling her? I mean, you called her twice and she blew you off, and that's part of the reason, because you were doing a little bit of inviting this behavior, because you kept pursuing her and trying to talk to her when she's ignoring you. So you're straying from the book a little bit there, and that's why I'm putting these things out. If I had vetted her properly in the beginning, I would not have put up with this behavior for over 2 years. This woman has done a lot of damage to me mentally and made me question my self-worth. Yeah, if you can read all about narcissism on the internet. You can just Google it. There's lots of information out there on it, just so you know what to look for, because this is what they do. The narcissist never takes any responsibility for their behavior. It's always your fault or somebody else's fault. They never do anything wrong because they're just perfect. It's usually because they get ridiculed by their parents. They're constantly being told that they're wrong. They're being yelled at. It's just they never get any validation. It's always, you're wrong, you're this, you're that, you're a terrible person. And then they grow up having to defend themselves constantly, and they hate being berated constantly, and it's like a coping mechanism that they learn to deal with it. They can't ever take any responsibility because when they were kids, they're just constantly being told that they're bad and almost no praise at all. I remember, like, me personally, growing up, like, first time I ever heard my dad say he was proud of me, I was like in my late 20s, I think it is, when I was doing really well. I was like, I held the phone away. I was just thinking, did my dad just say he was proud of me? He's like, it only took 30 years. He says, all because I developed strong feelings for a woman. Remember, we make our decisions based on our emotions, and then we use logic and reason to justify it. And so because he was really into her and focused on his feelings and how much he liked her, he ignored all his wacky behavior. I developed strong feelings for a woman who was not mentally stable and possibly a narcissist. Well, if she couldn't take any accountability, and if she gaslighted you, always telling you it was your fault, that sounds like a narcissist. Again, you can look that stuff up online. Like it's not traumatic enough to lose my wife to cancer. It's not easy breaking up with someone you love and care about, but you got to love and care about yourself as well. And you got 2 boys that are going to follow your example, and you need to do a better job of letting them see you with a woman who actually treats you good like their mother did. He says, but I know that this is what needs to be done in order for me to move on with my life and be happy. I will never take her back no matter how much I am hurting inside. Well, I hope you're congruent with that. I hope I don't get an email in a few months going, hey, coach, I know I said I was not going to take her back, but, she's back in therapy and promises she'll change, or whatever it is. I'm going to stay single for a while, focus on my kids, my career, improving my health and fitness by eating clean, avoiding alcohol, going consistently to the gym, and reconnecting with old friends. Once I have healed and feel ready, I'll get back into the dating world while making sure I apply what's in your book. The future is looking bright. Best wishes, Bob. Well, congratulations, Bob. It only took 2 years, but at least, hopefully, you're finally free of this ratchet who's not good for you and not good for your boys. You got to think about the example you're setting for them, because kids are going to do and act based upon what is modeled for them at home. And going over to this woman's house and letting her abuse you in front of your children is not good. And I'm sure your wife would agree. She wouldn't like to see your sons subjected to that. She wants the best for you, and she wants the best for your sons. So to honor her memory, you need to do what's right and find somebody that treats you as good or maybe even better than your wife did. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the coaching tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. And if you haven't already signed up for our exclusive premium members only content, in the video description of this video, there are links to join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify, or our website, understandingrelationships.com. And with our website, you can do a 7-day free trial to check out what content you get for your money. And if you choose an annual plan, you can get a 25% discount at the end of the 7-day free trial. So go there now, understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab, and sign up for a membership free trial. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.